The impact of influence, Hattie Sue. What is your name, little boy? It was one of thousands of questions asked and answered by the same time by one of the greatest influencers of my life. What is your name, little boy? It was the truth and the way. It was a statement of absolution. It was a question of purpose and intent. The woman who had ownership of these words was this beautiful powerhouse and North Star. She was absolute and a mystery. She was the most powerful force in the universe and the most caring, sensitive soul I have ever known. She loved the loudest, proudest, and most often. She never feared because that would be disrespectful to her incredible faith. She was domestic and worldly, quiet but always heard, and was loved in return for the most absolute of ways. She was a giant of a woman, standing at about 5'3" or so. She could smile you into tears of joy and stare you down as if Medusa herself, real goddess stuff. The woman was Hattie Sue Harris, or Hattie Sue, the matriarch, the boss, my grandmother. She was born in Lunenburg, Virginia on July 28, 1911, daughter of William Keaton and India Rainey Keaton. She once told me that her nickname was Plu, but I never understood what it meant. It was 39. It was not regal enough in my mind. We shared July 28th as both of our birthdays. There was always a special smile shared between us when the date rolled around. She would pull me aside and whisper that I was her 51st birthday present. She made me feel special that we shared that. She loved her gang of grandchildren all the same, but I had that special thing that was my own. My grandmother was a spiritual woman in full. Sunday mornings before church featured gospel music by Reverend James Cleveland, or the Staple Singers, or the Mighty Clouds of Joy. Sunday mornings also featured the aroma that would best be described as what heaven must smell like. It was a combination of fried chicken, ham, pie, cookies, sweet potatoes, and love. I get tears just thinking about it. Cooking was the thing she loved to do for people she loved the most, us. She would start on Saturday and roll through until those rolls or biscuits were ready. There was no greater memory or aroma than that. In my early years, my grandmother lived a block away with her backyard overlooking my backyard. Whatever shenanigans were taking place or was about to take place was met with this super spy opening of her kitchen door or dining room window and this bold, "Derrick! Little boy!" I even tried to practice not freezing up in full like a game of freeze tag whenever I heard it, but soon learned that it was easier and safer just to behave. The calling of the name was one thing, but it was this other little thing that my grandmother had that is still the most powerful thing I know. My cousins and siblings all will vouch for this. If someone was misbehaving, misspeaking, misunderstanding, or simply not making her proud, my grandmother would do this thing with her eyes and her lips. She would curl her lips back in as if she was biting on them. Then she would stare at you as if lightning bolts would shoot from her eyes. This was a sign that all things going must cease immediately. Immediately. Whenever you saw this, you had a business decision to make. Were you willing to risk the opening of the sky and the earth at the same time? We learned better sooner. The times when the lesson had to be learned, she was the world's best teacher. Even at 60, my grandmother was fast and quick. She could have been a pro wrestler, I'm sure. She could cut you off at any corner of the dining room table, backyard, or basement. She could find her way around the couch, and she loved us all enough to make sure that that behavior never happened again. What is your name, little boy? When I was 12, I moved in with my grandmother. my great uncle, my grandfather, and my oldest sister, Diane. I was there to help with the little things like garbage and mowing the lawn. As I recall, I was mainly there to taste cake batter and icing. I would explain the sports I was watching on her television when I knew she would much rather be watching anything else, and help with my grandfather. These were the days of not having a TV in every room, and there was only one phone line that everyone shared. I was just getting into girls, and she was very detailed in outlining the do's and don'ts of phone conversation length, and proper dismount from said calls. What is your name, little boy? I was about to introduce myself to whomever answered the phone. It was the price you pay for calling someone's home. Oddly, I was pretty good about it. Hello, sir or madam. My name is Derrick Pearson, and I would like to speak to your daughter. Like clockwork, I never asked why this was needed or why it was important. It was simply enough because she said it was so. Never once thought about it again. No need to ask. And then, at age 13, I called the home of a young lady, and her father answered the phone. I said, "Good evening, mister." And before I could get the rest of it out, I was interrupted by, "What's your name, little boy?" He did not even let me finish or get it out. He snapped it at me with venom and poison. And I knew this was no ordinary call. "What's your name, little boy? You hear me?" I knew the answer. I promise you that I did. But the words got swallowed and re-swallowed. I hung up the phone and slammed it to make sure that this was over. My grandmother heard the call and came running. What happened? I explained the failure to address this man properly, and she shushed me. You know the definitive shush that ends all speaking and sound. What is your name, little boy? I said that I never got to say it, and she said the following. Remember this if you are my grandson. Say your name. Say your name. Your name has power, little boy, and never let anyone call you anything but your name. What is your name, little boy? I cried. I was trying to process what just happened and what was happening at that moment. I was being loved on in the moment of need. I still did not get it until she said the next thing. It's not what you're called, but what you answer to that matters. No one has the right to call you anything but your name. That is why I have been telling you this. Be prepared. There are folks who are mean, who want to hurt you just because they themselves are in pain. Your name is important. It was one of the first gifts given to you in this world. That is important. When someone calls you by anything else, remind them of who you are. Say your name. My grandmother had been planting this seed for a long time. It was time for it to bear fruit. I called back and opened with my name, Mister. My name is Derrick Pearson, and I apologize for not telling you my name before. I was caught off guard and got scared. Your name is Mr. and my name is Derrick. I would like to speak to your daughter if that is okay. He was quiet. His voice rumbled, and he delivered the news that I wanted to talk to her, and he surrendered the phone to her for me. His daughter was stunned, as she had forewarned me that her father might not be happy about me calling. We talked for about 10 minutes of shirt-soaking nervousness and agreed to talk at school the next day. I chalked it all up to being a white neighborhood thing. My grandmother hugged me, and with one of those hugs that cured everything, those close your eye and cry hugs, those shake you while hugging you hugs, those we are all right hugs. She explained that using names puts everyone on the same level. It forces people to consider the other person as a person. She also said that allowing your name to be dismissed or misused was always wrong. She went on by saying, my name is how love is shared. She took a name out of love. She gave her children their names and shared those names with love and pride in full. She called those names to identify and to elevate. She then flipped my brain by saying, your name is not who you are, but where you come from. You come from me and your grandfather. You come from your mom and your father. Your children will come from you. It means that you belong, that you are worthy, and that you are loved. More tears, more hugs, more love. What is your name, little boy? I heard this before as a teenager. Moms and dads in the neighborhood, they used it out of curiosity. It was often followed by, you can't date my daughter because you might be related. What? No one told me. I dismissed it as a black neighborhood thing and left it alone. As I found out later in my life, there was good reason for that question to be asked. My name is the same, but my origins are newly discovered. My name is Derrick Pearson. My biological father's name is Garner. I am proud of both names. I am a Keaton, a Harris, a Green, a Garner, a Pearson, and more. I'm learning more about my name as I grow older, wiser, and smarter. I found out that my mother's real name, her birth name, is Queen Elizabeth. I found out that I had more siblings, cousins, and family. I found out that I was more loved than I knew or thought possible. I am the son of a queen. I am the grandson of Hattie Sue Harris and Melvin Harris Sr. I am the little boy raised by Roland Thomas Morgan, and his name is in my heart forever. I am the father of Aniko, grandfather to Nate, and husband to Rebecca. Because of my grandmother, her love, and this journey, my family will know their names. They will also know where they are from and who got them to where they are today. Everyone behind me will know my grandfather's name, my grandmother's name, her love, and their story. This tiny legend loved entire blocks, entire families, and entire lives. She gave me a love for gospel music and appreciation for the church, respect for the elders in her circle, and of myself. She gave me the power to be me authentically. When I was choosing my college, she did not want me to go south. She was afraid. She said she would support me no matter what, but to make it clear, she was simply concerned that people would not care what my name was. I went on a college recruiting visit to UNC Greensboro in 1979. I was going to stop in Richmond on the way back and get my Greyhound bus tickets for the trip. What's your name, little boy? Sir, I am not little or boy. My name is, I never finished. There was a Klan and Communist Party march /riot /massacre happening on the street in front of the dorm at the university. I took cover and waited. An hour or so later, I told the coach, no thanks, and started walking to the bus station to head home. I made the next bus and sunk into my seat for the ride. Stop by stop, city by city, I counted the stops before Richmond. These were the days before cell phones, so I waited for a phone to become available. Yes, good old phone booths. I had forgotten one thing and never knew another. I forgot to call home to let them know that I was okay and heading north. I also did not know that the massacre was on national news. They were worried sick. As I stood at the bus front door, those words landed again. What is your name, little boy? I answered, expecting more chaos. He instead reached his hand out and said, your mother is worried sick about you. She called every station to see if you had made a bus. Every day in my profession, I get to say my name. I get to tell stories of who I am, where I am from, who lived before me, for me, to better me. Every day I think of this beautiful woman and her words and her love. I think of her incredible heart and everlasting love. I love her for loving me and for teaching me, because it's how I know that love can and should do that. Love is teaching. Love is caring. Love is a tiny goddess of a woman with a heart of gold and the backbone of a giant. This is for you, Hattie Sue Harris. Here's to the lessons you taught, whoever your Hattie Sue is, the love they gave you, the seeds they planted in you that they were never able to see the fruit of. Here is to your Hattie Sue, her meals, her labors of love, her leading and guiding you to your best version. Here is to your great person, whoever that is. Here's to a life worthy of their love and their name and your name. What is your name, little boy? Hi, my name is Derrick Pearson. I am the son of a queen and the grandson of an absolute goddess. Her name is Hattie Sue Harris. What is your name?